ever argued so hard about something, only to find out you were both wrong? Well, that's exactly what happened to Lena and Miles. One bright afternoon, these two best friends were locked in a hilarious over-the-top battle over the moon. Lena swore there were 8 moons. Miles nearly fell over laughing. 1 moon! But then, they saw something that made them question everything. The debate turned into a mission, leading them to a quirky internet cafe, a grumpy cat, and a mind-blowing discovery. What did they find? Who was right? And what does the moon do? Stick around because this story will have you laughing, guessing, and maybe even learning something new. Hit play, and let's settle this once and for all. It was a bright, sunny afternoon at Dandelion Town Playground, the biggest and best playground in town. The sky was a brilliant blue, with only a few wispy clouds drifting lazily across it. Kids swung high on swings, tumbled down slides, and chased each other across the grass. The playground was alive with laughter and shouts. Every child felt free to run wild. Lush trees surrounded the area, their leaves rustling in the light breeze, while in the distance, birds chirped happily. The air smelled like freshly cut grass mixed with the warm aroma of someone's peanut butter sandwich. Lena and Miles were 10 years old and best friends among the children playing that day when they weren't arguing. Lena had long, curly brown hair that was always a little frizzy from running around. She wore a bright yellow t-shirt with a cartoon moon and stars on it paired with denim shorts. She had a pair of mismatched socks that peeked out of her well-worn sneakers. Miles, on the other hand, had short, spiky black hair, light brown skin, and a confident grin that rarely left his face. He wore a red hoodie, even though it was warm outside, and navy blue cargo shorts stuffed with all sorts of random things: crumpled paper, a yo-yo, and a half-eaten granola bar. They were in the middle of an intense hopscotch battle when Lena suddenly gasped and pointed at the sky. "Look, the moon!" she shouted, her eyes wide with excitement. Miles snorted, barely glancing up. "No way! The moon only comes out at night. Everyone knows that." He threw his rock onto the hopscotch grid and jumped forward confidently. Lena crossed her arms, her curly hair bouncing as she did so. "Then explain that white thing up there," she challenged, jabbing her finger at the faint, round moon visible in the daytime sky. Miles squinted. "Huh." He scratched his head. "That's just, a cloud pretending to be the moon." Lena burst out laughing. "Oh? A cloud? With craters and everything?" Miles hesitated. "Okay, fine. Maybe the moon can be out during the day, but at least we can agree there's only one moon." Lena shook her head. "Nope! There are 8 moons!" she declared confidently. Miles nearly tripped over his foot. "What?" Lena rolled her eyes. "I read it in a book. There are 8 different moons that we can see from Earth." Miles doubled over laughing. "Lena, that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. There is one moon, uno, singular, one big rock in the sky. How can you say there are 8? Lena stomped her foot. "I'm not making it up. I've seen them in books. They have names and everything." Miles smirked. "Oh yeah? What are their names? Moon, Moonette, Moonster, and Moony McMoonface?" Lena glared. "No! There's the waxing crescent, the waning crescent, the waxing gibbous, the waning gibbous, the full moon, the new moon, the first quarter, and the last quarter." Miles raised an eyebrow. "That's just the same moon changing how it looks." Lena shook her head. "Then why do books show 8 different ones?" "We're going to Google this," Miles announced. "Fine," Lena agreed. They raced to an internet cafe nearby, dodging other kids playing tag. The cafe, called Cybersprout, was a cozy place filled with rows of computers, soft beanbag chairs, and the delicious smell of freshly brewed coffee mixed with the sweet scent of cinnamon rolls from the counter. There were posters on the walls about internet safety and a giant mural of a rocket ship blasting into cyberspace. A sleepy cat named Gizmo lay curled up on the counter, only occasionally flicking its tail when someone walked by. They grabbed a computer and started typing furiously. After a few searches, Miles read aloud, "The moon goes through different phases because of how the sun lights it up from different angles. But it's still just one moon." He turned to Lena, triumphant. Lena frowned. "Okay, fine, but I wasn't wrong. Listen to this." She cleared her throat and read dramatically. "The waxing crescent happens when only a small part of the right side of the moon is lit. Waxing means it's growing bigger each night," Miles nodded. "And the waning crescent is when only a small left part shows. Waning means it's shrinking." Lena clicked on another page. "The first quarter moon looks like a half moon, but it's only because we can see half the sunlit side." Miles grinned. "And the last quarter is the same thing, but later in the cycle." They spent the next 30 minutes excitedly reading about each phase. Full moon. The whole moon is bright and round because it's fully lit by the sun. It's when the werewolves come out, according to movies anyway. New moon. The moon is completely dark because it's between the earth and the sun. Basically, invisible. Waxing gibbous. More than half the moon is visible and growing. This means it's almost a full moon. Waning, gibbous. More than half the moon is visible but shrinking, heading back toward another crescent. Finally, Lena sighed. "So, I guess I was kind of right, but also kind of wrong." Miles grinned. "And I guess I was right, but also kind of wrong." They stared at each other for a moment before bursting into laughter. Lena leaned back in her chair. "So, there is one moon, but it has 8 phases." Miles nodded. "And the moon can be out in the daytime." Lena sighed. "We should probably stop arguing and start reading more before making wild statements." Miles smirked. "You mean before you make wild statements?" Lena picked up a crumpled napkin and tossed it at his head. "Ha ha, very funny." As they left the cafe, Miles stretched. "This was fun. Who knew arguing about the moon could lead to learning something?" Lena grinned. "Imagine how much we don't know about the stars." Miles groaned. "Oh no, here we go again." They walked back to the playground, still laughing, ready to argue about something new. But one thing was certain. From that day on, they would always double-check their facts before another great debate. Moral of the story: never stop learning, always research before making claims, and most importantly, sometimes the best way to learn is through a friendly and slightly ridiculous argument.